Hi, welcome to this week's market analysis, and we will be looking at the US market first. So let's look at the SPY S&P 500 ETF on the weekly chart. So this week what we are seeing here is that we saw this weekly bar dip down below the low of previous week, and then we see a rally all the way up to close on the high. And this is its reverse use of trend line and its trend channel on the demand line. We see the close above the demand line. The close is also above the previous close here, which makes that this wave has extended on itself on the upside. We are not seeing any progress to the downside. There is some shortening of a thrust at this 3 bars here, and that's all the positive sign to tell us that there is probably a likelihood that S&P 500 might rally to the 135.76 level for a test. The slight increase in volume also gives a support to this bar here, where we see some demand that's coming into the market now. So on the overall, I would not expect the S&P 500 to turn sharply around and go all the way up to test the high there. But in this market, the sellers are still has control of the market. Buyers will have to prove themselves. So by proving themselves this coming week, we will have to see a higher high, higher close, and hopefully to close above the 135.76, just to indicate that strength is coming into the market, and there is likelihood that S&P 500 ETF is going to make higher highs or high, and also further up move probably towards the 142 in the coming weeks. But so far this is just a temporary spot that has indicated by this bar here. So let's look at the daily chart. On the daily chart, we have a trading range, and its trading range is 127 to 133, and we see this week we have 4 consecutive up closes, positive closes, all the way up towards the top of the trading range. That is some positive sign that is showing that the market is trying its best to rally up, and hopefully to break out of this trading range here. So we will have to wait for signs to see that breakout, and the breakout have to be strong and not a weak one, because if it is a weak one, we will see S&P ETFs coming back into the trading range, probably to hover around the top of the trading range here. And if there is a strong sign of breaking out, I would believe that 135.76 will be tested, which is also a level that is indicated on the weekly chart. So this level is a critical level we want to watch. Why so? Because this is also the low of the previous trading range, and if S&P 500 ETFs is going to go into the previous trading range on top here, there is probably a likelihood of it going making up move, trying to make up move towards the 142.21 level. And on the overall, volume is a little bit encouraging, but not so overwhelming, because what we are seeing here is that we see very high volume coming on the downside. So we will want to see increase in volume on the buying side, which is on the up wave. So that has to happen before any substantial up move is going to be warranted for the coming in the future weeks. So that is my take for the S&P 500. And also for the downside, before I go also on the downside, if we do see some sell-off that's coming into the market with an increase in volume, and we took out the lows of this bar and this bar here, so then the lower possibility of the possibility of moving towards the low of the 127.14 is going to be increased, and we are probably likely to see 124.26 in the probably coming this coming week, or the possibly the early of the following week. So that is my take for the S&P 500. So let's go to the Jakarta Composite Index next. This is Indonesian market, and we are looking at the Jakarta Composite Index weekly chart. This week we have a slightly better week of close, because we have a positive close after 4 down weeks, and we saw market dips down all the way towards the 36.24 level, and rallies all the way back up, and closing here positive. However, we are also seeing a rejection on the highs. We have rallied through towards the 3900 level, but sellers step in to reject the higher prices, and we close below the 3866 level. And on the volume, we have a slight increase, so there is definitely some demand that's coming into the market to hold the market up at this level. However, the volume is not as high, so we will probably have to take this as a temporary support for the Jakarta Composite Index. On the structure, we have a lower high and lower lows. Still, we do not have a higher high yet, so if for buyers to be convincing us that the market is going to go up, they will have to close Jakarta Composite Index higher than this high here, and make a higher high and close above them, and trade up towards the high with a slight increase in volume or increase in volume here. So that will have some conviction that this market is going to move towards the higher level, and probably this down move may have already ended. So we will have to see that happen. Otherwise, sellers are still in control of the market. Buyers will really have to prove themselves. So let's look at the daily chart. And on the daily chart, we see these two big down move here. So they have already created a oversold condition because of the speed and the kind of movement that is coming down with gaps down here. So it has already created a oversold condition. So this rally may just be a temporary rally just to relieve from this oversold condition, and volume doesn't really convince me that it is going to turn around and move all the way up towards the high, because volume is coming in a very abrupt manner, meaning that we have seen a sudden increase in volume and then there's no follow through. We saw rejection and then prices come down, volume dries up. So there is some sign that this rally may just be a temporary rally, and we will have to see further confirmation from the buyers. The confirmation will come in the form of taking out the high of the 3909, because this level now has becomes a trading range, the range of the trading range now, and buyers will have to take out this 3909 level and close above the 3950 level, which is the midpoint of this entire down move. So once it close above that and trades above that, we will see strength that's coming into the market, and that might confirm that this down move may probably be temporary ending. And but if we see sell-off that's coming into the market and take out the low of this up bar here, which is the 3734 level, if we took out this low and we close below it, then 3624 is going to be tested, and we will probably have to see how it's being tested at this level here. If there is an increase in volume breaking down 3624, we will probably see more downside to come for Jakarta Composite Index. So that's my take for Jakarta Composite Index next week. And now we go to the Hong Kong market. This is the Hong Kong market, and we are looking at the Hang Seng Index. On the weekly chart, I'm still not seeing strength coming into the market on the weekly chart, except for a temporary support that's coming in, because as we can see, the closes are now getting closer and closer to each other, but it's still on the way down. The lows are extending towards the downside, but we are seeing closes that's coming closer. So that does mean that there is some support that's coming into the market to hold Hang Seng at the current level of probably the in between the 1800 level range, 18,000 level range. So we are seeing some support that's coming in here, but to me this is just a temporary support, because we have not seen any sign of strength, meaning that we have seen this kind of bars closing all on top of the high, and then taking out the high of these three bars here. If this week we will see this kind of bar that dips down and close all the way up and take out all the three highs of this bar here, then that will probably be the initial sign of strength that's coming to the market to signal Hang Seng probably have a consolidation for a turnaround. Else I would believe that Hang Seng might just come back to the 17,613 for a test, since there's no sign of strength at the moment yet. So let's look at the daily chart. And on the daily chart, this extreme down move here has really probably created the oversold condition, and we see the market trying its best to rally, but it wasn't able to do so, and then it makes another down move, but on this week we are trying to rally again, but however it's not able to rally back up towards the high here. So the whole structure is still a lower low, lower high, which is in the downtrend. The only thing is that we are probably not moving as sharply down, and this down trend line, the supply line, we have already broken it on this week. So there might be signs that Hang Seng is slowing its pace to the downside. But on the two bars here, we are seeing some increase in volume on the Friday bar, which we have seen a very bad close on the low. However, the volume is a little bit too high for this bar on the spread, because if there is totally selling in this bar here, we should not be seeing this kind of very small spread. We should probably be seeing a wider spread coming down towards the low. So there is some buying that's going on at this level here, so we want to pay attention to be careful not to short this market too aggressively, although we are still in a downtrend, but there might be a consolidation and we might just get whipsaw in taking some short position now. Because my position is still neutral at this level. We are seeing some demand that's coming in, but that is still not strong for Hang Seng, and the overall structure just suggests that we will probably likely to see Hang Seng go sideways. Only thing that will show us strength from the buyers would be a close above the 19182 level, which is at this high. That will probably make it as to me will be a first higher high there. We can say that this is a higher high or this is a higher high, but I will take this as a more definitive higher high. Once it breaks out of this level, we would probably see some upside to come, but any failure at all these highs here will just indicate that Hang Seng is going to break to make lower lows in the coming days or weeks. So that is my take for Hang Seng index for the coming week. So let's go to the Singapore market. We come to the Singapore market, and this is STI on the weekly chart, and basically what we are also seeing is that there is still some lack of progress to the downside on the closes. However, bars are able to make much lower low here. On the overall structure, is still a lower low, lower high on the bars, so the structure is still weak. So basically what I'm seeing here is that for the Singapore market, we have on this week we also have a dip down and go up and then comes back and close in the middle. So that is likely to probably go sideways, consolidate at around the 2720 level, around this range here, or work within this weekly range for the coming week. Because the volume has already been very consistent on the downside, but we are just not seeing any net progress to the downside. So there might be some temporary support for the Singapore market. And on the support side, the 2720 seems to be offering quite a fairly well support at this level, which also coming from the 2680 at this zone here. So we just probably have to be very careful if we are going to short this market. Better not to be too aggressive also, just like the Hong Kong market. Let's look at the daily chart. And on the daily chart, we are still seeing a lower low, lower high on the structure, still a downtrend, and we see some rejection on the Thursday and Friday bar, which the volume is quite consistently as the same as this bar here on the way up. This is just purely a signal to me that there is a rejection from the higher level, and probably Singapore market or the STI is going to go into sideways. And I would believe that next week we will probably see a narrowing of range, because the current trading range is now at 2698 to 2778 level, which it's still a relatively much wide range here. So you will probably want to see range probably consolidate or narrows down further. because we are also seeing from the past 2 weeks range has been starting to narrow, but then it expands again, but this week we starts to narrow the range. So hopefully this week we have a narrower range such that we see support that's coming in at the lower range at this level here. That will signifies that the narrowing of range might just be a turning point for a temporary rally for the STI for the coming weeks or 1 or 2 weeks. So on the overall, structure is still weak, and the bias is still down, and we are not seeing any sign of strength that's coming into the market at this moment. Although the waves are shortening, it's just telling us that this is probably a temporary support, or the temporary resting place for the STI. So we will want to see these further development in the market next week in order to determine what is the possible direction. Else the likelihood of STI breaking the 2698 level is still there, and the 2680 axis line, I believe, is probably be holding, is still yet to be tested. So I would expect that to be tested, and we'll see how the market going to react or response from that testing. So that is my take for the Singapore market, and this week and probably the following week will be probably a very volatile, but I will not think that big moves is going to come before the Greece election, and the market is probably going to prepare itself for a possible intervention, coordinated action from the central bank. So we have to be very careful, if it's possible, not to trade this week or next week, just to wait and see what the market gives us in a clearer direction, because from the analysis of the past few markets, the general direction is now that we saw temporary support coming into the market, and I would not think that it is wise to just go aggressively short at this kind of temporary support, because there might be a chance that buying is going to come in a big way, and that will turn the market around very, very fast. So we just have to be very careful in all the short positions that we have established. So that is my take for the coming week. I'll see you next week. Trade well and have a great trading week. Thanks.